Students, hi. I just filmed your whole coil pot video and then realized that that's not the first project we're doing. So now I have to film another one. Um, Anyways, hi, welcome to Ceramics 2. It's nice to have you here with me. Welcome to Virtual Clay. I did go over in the wrong video then what is in your materials kit, and I did not get you a tray this time. If you'd like a tray, I have one at school. I did get you a piece of canvas. This is the same stuff you got in Ceramics 1 if you were virtual. It's the same stuff that we have on the tables here. So you could just take this piece of canvas and work on it on a hard surface, okay? You also could, if you had a piece of cardboard, this is a piece of masonite, I just pulled the canvas over the edges of it, and then I would do the same thing for the last two edges and just tape it down with some masking tape or duct tape, something like that. And then you have a nice hard surface to work on too. A lot of schools do that. I think that works pretty well. You also have a Ziploc baggie. This is to keep extra clay in. That garbage bag can be used to store your projects in. You got a sponge, you got a ribbon tool, a needle tool, and a little cup to put slip in. So this has a lid. You should put clay and water in here, and then you can use the lid to store it. You also got a Scotch pad, which you didn't get for Ceramics 1 if you were virtual. These things are great though. If you were in the building and you got to use one, I hope you know what I'm talking about. After your piece is dry, you can use this and it like sands away all the clay so quickly. So if you had like an imperfect spot or you could see fingerprints somewhere and you didn't want to see them, you can just use this Scotch pad and clean it up really quickly. So that's that for materials. Like I said, if you want more canvas or you want a tray to work on, please let me know. I do have a handful of trays here and I'd be happy to bring one to you. Okay, so the real first project, Maker's Mark, we're making a signature to use on the bottom of our piece. So think about, you know, if you make a clay project and you're supposed to sign the bottom with your name or your initials, this is going to be a little stamp we can use that we can just stamp our piece on instead. So I did right here. Let's see if this works. So I drew a symbol for me to use for the base of mine. This is a D for my first name. I know I have a real first name, can you imagine? And then the S is supposed to be the lightning bolt, which references showers, sort of. I don't know. Look, I forgot to make this video and I came up with something. I am going to cut out this drawing that I did so that I can trace it onto my clay. Also, I forgot to mention, after I drew that, I colored it in with Sharpie just for my own sake. The Sharpie is going to pop out and then the white part I'm going to carve into the clay. But then I went to the window and I colored it in on the back side too, because since I chose to make a letter, I want my letter to print forward. So I'm going to actually create this piece backwards. So yeah, first things first, cutting it out. And this is what I'm going to put on my piece so that when it stamps onto the clay, it stamps the correct way. Okay? So now that that's ready to go, I'm just going to roll out a coil and make sure that the end of it is big enough for me to carve that on it. And you should all know how to do this. Oh, and also you have to wedge this first, and I just wedged this all in my last video. So I guess take a little chunk. I guess we should go over this, right? Take a little chunk of clay from your bag, hit it with the palm of your hand, turn it, and hit it again, and do this for about 10 minutes. Also, I already went over this in my last project too, which will be your second project, but pieces from first semester virtual learning were crazy wet. I mean, just in general, stuff was too wet. I think there were like 6 students whose clay seemed the appropriate moisture level when it came to school here. So you do need to wedge clay. It's like a legit thing that we do. And the canvas will help absorb a lot of that. You can see where I've been working is a little bit wetter. So make sure that you're doing that. If clay is really wet when you're working on it, it's hard to make something good because everything sticks to your fingers. So it's beneficial to you to have your clay firm up a little bit. Okay, so this is a really thick coil, I know, but I want to make sure that my piece fits on it. Okay, so I have a little wonky end, so I'm going to take my needle tool. Okay. So then, once I have a flat surface, like that, I'm just going to set this the opposite way because it's a letter. You don't have to do that if you just have a symmetrical shape of some sort. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to just carve away. I'm going to use my needle tool. So you could outline it with your needle tool. I'm just going to take, I don't know, how can you see this? I'm going to take my needle tool kind of horizontally and do kind of a sawing motion and just kind of get rid of some of that clay. Right? I want to have a little bit of depth here because that's what I'm going to press into my clay piece when I'm stamping this on the base. But this helps me get large pieces off pretty quickly. Okay. And it doesn't matter what the rest of this looks like, but, you know, it's nice if things look nice. Okay, so now for the rest of this, I actually want to cut out that lightning bolt shape too, the S part of my design. But I didn't cut it out of the paper. Sorry, I don't know how to make things just part way, you know? So what I could do is peel this off since I have this as my correct shape, and you can see that D there. Now that I know where to put the edges, I can cut this out the rest of the way. And we want to be careful, right? The more work we do on the drawing and how well we cut it out, the less work we have to do on the clay, because everything will be right. Okay, so now we got to line it back up correctly. So I'm just going to take the flat edge and line it up to the flat edge of my D. And then same with the other side. Oh no. I just messed this up somehow. I don't know which way is right. Okay, this way is the right way. There, that looks right. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with the inside. So I could do it the same way and kind of hold my needle tool horizontally. But I don't really trust that it's not going to fall off again, so I'm just going to outline it really quickly. I could do something else now that I think about it. I could, you know, instead of carving this out, I could like add texture to the lightning bolt that doesn't appear on the other side, or on the D part of it. So like that could be another way that you create, like differentiate between initials or anything like that. But I want to cut it out. You're going to find too, if you haven't started drawing your design yet, bold images are going to be just easier to carve out. It doesn't mean you can't do something that's very detailed, it just might be a lot harder. Or maybe not harder, maybe just more time consuming. Okay, now again, because I've worked with clay a long time, I know, do you see this? I want to clean up those edges a lot better. Is that focused? I don't think it is. But I can't do that because my clay is too wet right now, okay? So I'm going to wait a little bit and let it dry out, and you can wait a little bit too. Actually, you won't have to, I'll just cut this off. Okay, I popped this in front of the fan, so it's a lot harder now. So I can kind of scoop out those insides a little bit better. Okay, so this is a time too when you can use that sketch pad and just kind of gently smooth off all the edges. Okay, another thing, I should be holding it this way, sorry. This is the finished product. So again, when I stamp this in, the D will be facing the right way. You could keep this whole handle. I don't know that I want to. I might carve it out, or I might just chunk it off right here and have it be an actual stamp too. And that would be just fine. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you in class. I hope you have an extraordinary day. Oh, the expectation's high now.